Hello and welcome to the Winners Find a Way Show. I'm your host, Trent Clark. I am in Grand Rapids, Michigan today, being hosted by the lovely JW Marriott here in Grand Rapids. It is an unbelievable view here at the top of the view at the JW Marriott up on the 23rd floor in the executive lounge. I'm in my room right now, but it's a beautiful hotel that is really a special place down here on the river in Grand Rapids. Shout out to them. I am the CEO of Leadership, a serial entrepreneur, international speaker, coach for over 12 years in professional baseball coaching and 3 World Series. Obviously, the host of this show, Winners Find a Way. And I am also the new author of Leading Winning Teams. Super excited about this thing going live. The book is out and being shipped. You can buy it now. I've got links all down below. You can buy it now on Amazon. You can buy it on Barnes & Noble. Check out my author page. And you can do bulk orders, all sorts of different things on Leading Winning Teams. It is going to ship on Tuesday, but you can buy now, of course. So shipping on Tuesday, super excited about that, getting outside and getting going. And then I will give you an opportunity today to get it for free. And it is included in a ticket to our webinar, which is $35. And we have a webinar on August 27th, which will be amazing. And that is going to be just wrought with a bunch of great people as we welcome them in to discuss leading winning teams. I've interviewed now over 200 people in the arena of sports and executive management, and all of them formerly around sports athletics. And it's going to be a wonderful day. We have a lot of contributors to our book that I used from previous shows of Winners Find Your Way and interviews, including Desmond Clark, longtime NFL player, Chicago Bear, and Dave Fish, former retired Harvard tennis coach, still involved with college tennis rankings. And Dave is an amazing coach. David Morehouse, a longtime president of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Chris Kraus, founder of NCSA and for high school recruiting into college, and sold his company. Amazing athlete out of Vanderbilt. And man, Steve Lombardo, the third current CEO of the Gibson Group, one of the largest privately held restaurant groups in the country. Just an amazing business out of Chicago area, though they own restaurants in Florida and Illinois as well. And he's a former Georgetown baseball player. Mark Gallagher in the Formula One space, just a great contributor, started Red Bull Racing in Formula One, as well as Ann Gaffigan, the U.S. record holder for the steeplechase. I mean, it just keeps going from all these athletes. And of course, my buddy Scott Spezio is going to be joining us. Scott is a 2-time world champion, both with the Angels and with the St. Louis Cardinals. And he's the only guy whose father and he, son, have won the World Championship. Today, I want to talk to you, though, about AI, artificial intelligence. It is the rave right now. And I do these events called Growth Getaways, and leaders come in, or founders, presidents of companies, people that are leading organizations and want to go like, how do we move the needle quickly and rapidly? And we're really good at helping companies do that are very focused in on that. And that is not easy to get everybody moving and focused in the same direction. I tell a lot of people that I use my laptop at about 10% capacity. I have a very high dynamic laptop, and that's awesome. And it does a lot of things, I'm sure, but it doesn't do a lot of things for me because I only use email, some Windows products, and Adobe, some internet subscriptions that I have, but primarily I'm surfing web and doing web work on there. And that's about it. I mean, I'd love to be telling you I was doing high level coding. I think my laptop probably has the capacity to send a rocket to, Mars, but I don't know how to do all of it. So I'm limited in my knowledge of it. And so what I'm seeing is I'm seeing more and more people concerned, alarmed about AI. I fall into this same camp. So I was super thrilled to bring in good friend Ethan King into West Michigan. He just had a little speaking tour with EO Detroit. We had EOS Michigan. We had both Traverse City and Grand Rapids, well attended. And man, I was blown away by the level of AI. And very similar to my laptop, I found out that I put a lot of content out and I have a virtual assistant. We do a lot of different programs to hyper learn and learn to break down content quicker and do it better and use the automation tools that's possible. And that's really where Ethan's superpower is, right? Automation and AI. And he showed me ways to use the automation and AI tools that I realized, wow, we're at like 10% capacity of what's possible. And we think we're doing it pretty well and have a long way to go. But there were certain tools I'd never even heard of. I was just literally like my head was spinning by the end of this workshop because there was so much available. And what I really like about Ethan's style of education and teaching is that Ethan is he's an educator and entertainer, and he's done all this stuff. Like he's actually using these automations and AIs in his brands, in his companies to keep moving them along and doing it well. So he's got his thumb on the newest concepts and what's happening. Now, my suspicion is that AI is going to keep adapting and there's going to be new tools and better programs out. I think very similar to like MySpace and Facebook, right? Like MySpace came out, everybody was there. And since I'm the only one left there, it's MySpace now. So, haha. And so, Facebook has obviously boomed and become, and Meta, now owns the two of the biggest social contents of Facebook and YouTube. So, or I'm sorry, Facebook and Instagram. And so Google owns YouTube. So, between those two companies, we're really locking up all the search engine of the world here and what's happening and massive social content between those four groups right there and only owned by two companies. So that is amazing. And so understanding how these two companies are doing content becomes very important for a business owner and for people that are moving content into the world. Hey, how do I stay in understanding of how I work best with this software? So I do feel like a lot of people are nervous about AI replacing them as employees and taking that away. And it's possible. I think there's really some things that are foreseeable in that future of automation. In the same breath, I think, we saw it in manufacturing, and we still have tons of manufacturing jobs where everyone's like, hey, the robot's going to come in. It's just going to replace all these people. You just won't need people anymore because robots will do all the manufacturing. Well, that hasn't happened. There's still a shortage of labor in manufacturing. And so, I don't know what AI's future is. But personalizing it was something that was really helpful and a level of hyper learning for me that I didn't know was possible. So come back to that word. I love that word, hyper learning. I talk about it in the book because athletes are very good about hyper learning. They learn very quickly. They're coachable and they have adaptability, which is very important. The better ones certainly understand responsibility in their job, responsibility in their roles. I mean, that's a huge kind of element and key thing for athletes to get. And then, of course, they also understand that if there's a better way and the coach is going to show me that, I should learn that and find a way to win. And so athletes are really good about doing that, which is, of course, the show. Winners, when shown data that they're losing, find a way to win. Love that quote from the Four Disciplines of Execution. Fabulous book. And man, I really attached to that because here it is. Surround myself with people in that category. They're solutions minded. They're driving at what's possible, where they can go. And so the AI thing is really taken off. And I believe there's going to be all sorts of commerce around that. I think we've already seen that in the chip maker NVIDIA, which creates a bunch of value in that space. They have a key product that's critical to keep developing quick processing everything that has to be done, and especially now with so much video content out there now. Storage makers are going to become massive as we learn how to compress storage and information digitally faster, better. That will become big things. I keep hearing some of the um, folks that are wealth managers or financial planners or looking at projecting stocks and picking what's out there. And certainly in AI, there's going to be a laundry list of probably 15, 20 stocks that are really going to take off because these companies are going to become front running companies and their value is going to shoot so quickly because they offer something in the AI community that others don't. And so that will be really interesting for me to watch. With some key takeaways of Ethan's workshop, and I highly encourage you down in the chat. I put a copy of his book, which is ChatGPT, How to Double Your Business in 90 Days. Please click on that link, grab that, because that book is going to be it's going to be a tool of resources for you to actually go out and start practicing. And I do not believe that you're going to get great at AI and great at using the tools by reading about it, by watching headlines, watching a short 5-minute news report about it. You're going to have to get in there and do the work. You're going to have to go find out, hey, how does this work? How can I utilize this for me? And what the first probably really key element in AI is prompting. If you really want, and it kind of goes back to what we always teach our leaders, right? You want the right answers, you're going to have to ask the right questions. And for many folks in my environment who work with virtual assistants, communication becomes so important. How do you communicate? How do you give instructions? AI is no different. There is an art to prompting and giving good instruction to get a result that you really can utilize and something that you really want that's going to be effective for you to push that content out now and in your voice, in your writing style. And the book will show you exactly how to dive into that and go through that. And so if you have not seen the Winners Find a Way episode with Ethan King, I highly encourage you to do that. It is worth time with him and all of his experience telling you about his background because it's pretty amazing, all the things he's been through. And I'm sure, this is his second best-selling book after Wealth Beyond Money. And you can just see how Ethan's got, another 100 ideas. So he's continuing to push boundary on what's possible in the space. And I think he will dispel a lot of fears of AI. I do think there still are quite a bit of fear out there. And unfortunately, that is probably going to, pervade over people's concept of AI for some time. And I don't think it's misinformed. I do think AI could be used like everything else for bad or ill will, and that will happen. So we have to be diligent and start building some regulation around it. See a lot of smart guys like Elon Musk and people talking about AI. Stay in the know and start building your repetitions on AI. The big thing for me is we go back to I want to be confident in the AI. I want to be confident in the use. And Ethan has given you a step-by-step manual of how to get the reps and gain confidence in that market and gain confidence of how I would apply this in my world from a parent, from a business owner, from an employee, working through marketing or directing sales content. There are many ways it can be used and used effectively. And the beautiful thing about it for me is, as an entrepreneur, we are always kind of looking for cheat code and hacks. There's a lot to do, and entrepreneurs tend to run smaller companies. And so when you have a smaller company, you have less resources. And so this becomes a real big tool to shore up gap, including where Ethan even walks you through how to create your own marketing backdrop. Now, does that mean you're not going to need marketing help from marketing firms? Of course not. Like, people are going to do all sorts of due diligence for you. They can do, case study, analyze your demographics, and marketing companies are fabulous at that. And they're going to be able to take advantage of tools in this to help them become better at serving a client and being more on point and being more thoughtful about the message that comes through. So ultimately, I'm pretty bullish on the AI environment and what it can do for us. I wonder if there's a place for it in the large corporate where you have a lot of resources and you have a ton. I mean, I know there's still great opportunity in there, and big companies will use it. Having written the book right now, my publisher Wiley was very aware that there's a lot of plagiarism that's possible in any book, or if you're using AI. I did not use any AI in order to write my book, which, quite frankly, I wish I kind of would have, because it was a long, drawn out, tedious process. And having some tools in my tool belt to help expedite and get my message through even clearer than I could make it, I think would be really, really awesome. Editors, I certainly using a level of AI in my editing, right? I use Microsoft Word. I use the transcript program. So I am doing voice to transcript a lot, to start writing ideas, pre-write chapters. I take speeches that I've made before from events and I put them and load them in. I get ideas from that. I have those speeches analyzed to pull out the 10 key points to start directing on how I might tell those stories and use it anecdotally to help another organization lead. And that's really important to me. So the AI has had massive value in scoping out how I will use the content, but I didn't use AI to write the content. All the stories were my own. And of course, Microsoft Word, even their Word and thesaurus and feedback on how you're going to look at a page and go through it and review it is phenomenal. But like, it's still AI, right? It's doing their editing is AI. It's getting more intelligent by spelling and grammar, and it's going over all these reps and it's gathering all that using the artificial intelligence of where mistakes are made. And you see sometimes when you're typing, words will autocorrect because you use the wrong there, and it will correct to use the right, the right spelling of the there that you should be using. As if I want to go over there, or I like it, and their cottage is a beautiful place. So we're using it in two different concepts, and the artificial intelligence is picking that up. And so, it's tracking word counting for me, doing all sorts of stuff. So this artificial intelligence is not a new thing. It's certainly expediting some things. And one of the things that we discussed at dinner after the event was how it's going to change education, because education is going to look at this a very different way. Right now, it looks like cheat code because people are using AI to write papers for them and do different things. And so there's a level of concern there about how we're going to use the AI. But what I think ultimately is, how do we turn these tools around to make these tools better for humanity, better for our use? And I think it's going to change the way we're going to do education ultimately in some levels. So it'll be interesting to watch as we go through, and keep a close eye on Ethan King. He's going to be updating and always tweaking as the learnings come by in AI, and it gets more and more. So it'll be fun to watch it. And I think it's a good time to enjoy the journey. I also think it's time to be diligent and watch out for bad actors in this space and people utilizing it for the wrong things and with ill intent. But if you ever get the chance to book Ethan King, go to one of his workshops. I highly recommend it. And so I'll highly recommend that you get to some of our growth getaways, because when we do growth getaways, they are 2 nights, 3 days. We do a bunch of education on leadership, and you go right into exercises of like how I'm going to be a better leader and how I'm going to interact with my teams fast. And so it is hyper learning all over. And of course, we're bringing some of that AI learning inside those growth getaways. And we have a big golf growth getaway coming up in September 15th up in Traverse City, Michigan at the Grand Traverse Resort, which is just an incredible golf mecca. And it's going to be epic when we have everything's all in. You get one price and like you got your housing, you got everything except your travel to get there. So I can't get to control all your travel. So you got to find your way there on September 15th to 17th. 3 days of great golf, mega amounts of foursomes and golf games. And so we're going to give what we call the big four in our growth getaways. We're going to give an experience. We're going to give an activity, which is golf primarily as our activity on this one. Maybe a little hiking, maybe some pickleball because we both love both those. And then we're going to get learning for sure, right? And then lastly, we're going to get great networking. And that's really what we bring people together for. It is a chance to reboot, reset, take a look at your growth strategy and find some of the gaps in your strategy, what may be holding you back, and going back with a solid game plan of what am I going to do about those gaps and shoring that up to become the organization and leader that we really want to be, and use these great tools that have been created for you in mind to be a better leader. So you're going to have the time of your life. So I just highly recommend coming up to Traverse City, seeing us for the Growth Getaway. It will be one of the best things you ever signed up for. So if you want to get a copy of the book, again, down below, you can get a copy right now. It is going to ship on Tuesday, August 20th. It is being shipped. You can buy it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, BAM, Books A Million, of course, and the bookstore, as well as Porchlight has bulk discounts at the Porchlight site. And I'm offering some great discounts on speaking. If you're buying in bulk, I'm offering speaking options and with it, and much discounted. So really to create and help you create even a better event with all the tools, working at it, workshop, education, and then they take the book home with them as a great reinforcement for what they've learned inside that, and then going well beyond. Obviously, I took about 3 months to write the book, and I've interviewed over 200 people. So you can imagine that I'm not covering all that in a few hours on a straight session. So a lot of great things, key points for leaders to cover inside those sessions. And so please pick up that book. And I have a great offer, because if you go to that book launch page below, I will send you a free signed copy. If you get a ticket to our book launch learning day event, which is going to be just phenomenal, as I bring in a number of the participating authors that I've interviewed in the past, and we get some one-on-one interview time, some panel discussions, some co-hosts that are going to be working with me on this. It's going to be just a fun day on August 27th, a week from Tuesday. And you can join online live, or you can not join at all, and I'll send you the recordings after, and you can review it as you want. And you'll have 8 great hours of podcasting time whenever you're doing your runs or your triathlon work or your walks, or you're just out doing some yard work. I mean, however you listen and when you listen to your favorite podcast, this is a great time to go get that data. And of course, you'll recognize some of these brilliant names, as I mentioned earlier in the show. And so if you're in there and say, wow, I really want to hear, from Jim Ayers, the longtime president of Amway North America, now retired, talk about it, just an excellent guy on leadership. You're going to want to look and say, hey, when's his session? I want to get in live on that, listen to that. Great. Bounce in and get in and do it. If you want to check the recording, that's awesome too. You can do it later. So always available to you. So for the price, I am sending you a ticket to get in, a code to log on live to the webinar. I'm going to send you the recordings of the 8 hours of content. I'm going to send you a little mini workbook of the Pain Exchange on a couple tools you can use, of course. And then when you get your copy of the book, which is the last thing I'm going to give you, which is a signed copy, I'll mail directly to your home. And for that, you'll have the entire exercises of the pain exchange after each of the 14 chapters. It's going to help you get that discipline of becoming the leader, becoming who you really want to be in your career, in your life, and as a person. So it's going to be a fabulous event that you will not want to miss. I can't bring bigger value, because if we were doing this 1-day event in 8-hour content, the tickets would probably be like $349 when we've done this in the past. So $349, and you're going to get it all for $35. So that's pretty good. And I include the shipping. So you've got it all right there. So check it out. And I will see you next time on the Winners Find a Way show every Friday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific. And often we'll have our guests. You can go in our YouTube, Leadership YouTube channel, and you can go through everyone. I think we have now somewhere in the neighborhood of about 135 shows. And you can find that on all your major podcast channels and check that out. Today we re-released, I think, one of the first 3 episodes we ever did with Desmond Clark. And love Desmond. He's just a great athlete, great entrepreneur, great speaker. And I loved his interview early on. And so we re-released that with the launch of the new book that ships Tuesday. And of course, I featured Desmond in there, and some of that interview and some of that transcript from that interview, certainly talking about some of the points of how teamwork, motivation, and strategy achieve big league success. Pick it up now. Until next time, winners find a way.